Medicine and saving lives is the fastest advancing subject there is. Every single day, dozens of inventions or ideas are shared across the world with the goal to save, cure, or improve people's lives and futures. Today, we are going to talk about some of these inventions, but instead of the new stuff, we're going over the skills and devices that are no longer used, for good reason. Number 1. PSAG. PSAG, or pneumatic anti-shock garments, are special medical devices used to treat blood loss or stabilize bones. They were invented by Lieutenant Colonel Burton Kaplan during the Vietnam War. The garments worked by inflating with air to the point of cutting off blood flow. The reason this device is on this list is because while it does indeed do its job well, it also leads to very unpleasant side effects. When your legs are constricted for any period of time, it pushes lactic acid and potassium into the heart, which causes long-lasting heart problems and other medical concerns. Another side effect that was discovered when using the device to stabilize breaks: cells start to die all around the fractured zone and some of the leg due to being constricted over the period of time against the break. Number 2. Oral screws. One of the biggest issues that EMS personnel run into when rushing someone to the hospital is their pesky need to breathe. This issue had to be addressed, and was with the oral screw coming into the field. The oral screw was placed into the mouth against the teeth as it was screwed in with increased pressure until the mouth opened and freed space for an oral airway, a device used to flatten the tongue. The problem with the device was pretty obvious when looking at the number of victims that went through it. The pressure of screwing the device in would cause long-lasting trauma to the tongue, teeth, and jawbones. The most dangerous part was if the device were to fracture. A piece could go down the airway and block what little air the patient was getting. Number 3. Rotating tourniquets. Tourniquets are one of the most basic, but also one of the most important life-saving tools an EMS has to offer. However, we're going over what's known as a rotating tourniquet. These tourniquets were often used during a pulmonary or brain edema, which is simply when blood builds up in the lining of the lungs or brain. This was used to keep blood from returning to the affected area. In theory, this was relieving pressure to that affected area by decreasing blood flow. The issue with the device was simple. When cutting off the blood flow for one part of the body, it also cuts off a large amount of the oxygen the patient is used to receiving. This would send many people into shock when they otherwise would have been fine. Number 4. Trendelenburg position. For many years, this position was considered the best for a shock patient to be in. By making the patient raise their feet over the head, it raised the blood pressure and was thought to keep the patient alive. As time went on, it was found that this position was actually causing damage by inducing respiratory compression that would lead to tons of respiratory issues and sometimes complete failure. It also led to an increase in intracranial pressure, which at best led to headaches and at worst could cause strokes and seizures. It's fair to say it wasn't helping, and thus it is no longer the general practice. Number 5. Manual defibrillation paddles. Before we get into this one, there is a big confusion Hollywood has put into everyone's head about defibrillation paddles. A professional will use defibrillation paddles in order to return a patient's heart rate to a stable beat. There is a number of different reasons you may need to use paddles, but it is never because a patient's heart has stopped beating. Once a patient flatlines, paddles are no longer used the way Hollywood shows. The manual defibrillation paddles are the most common thing you'll see in film. The medics would be the ones feeling the pulse to determine if they should shock. This was very unreliable during stressful situations and would lead to a loss of life not only from shocking someone with a normal heart rate, but also by stopping the CPR in order to use the manual defibrillation paddles in the first place. If you shock someone whose heart isn't beating, you'll just turn them into a medium rare steak. If you want to save someone who went into cardiac arrest, learn CPR. Are you not glad to be born in this day and age? Every 10 or 20 years it just feels like the medical technology from the past was brutal and unnecessary. This just shows how fast we are advancing and how quickly the tech from the past looks barbaric to our advanced point of view. A couple of centuries ago, bloodletting was still common. Anyhow, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let us know if you did. Please like, comment and/or subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or join our Discord server. We hope to see you around.